Okay, I apologize. I have to be cozy to do this. And my hair did look cute earlier, but these headphones are like, no, they're not playing nice. They're like, whatever. They're like bump your hair. So, whatever. Um, we continue our tour. Demented. So, this man is gorgeous. He is absolutely gorgeous. And I'll never forget I made this man came out a figment of my imagination, right? Um, but the funny thing is, I actually found a model that looked identical to him. Gorgeous man, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, this man, he goes on a it's his birthday. It starts out where it's on his birthday, and his mother sends him to Las Vegas on a trip with his girlfriend. His girlfriend's name is Simone. And I just forgot his name. Wow, I forgot his name. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Anyway, um, it's gonna come to me. His girlfriend's he goes on this cruise, this trip to this trip to Las Vegas with his girlfriend. It's supposed to be just like a weekend getaway. They're actually staying at the Bellagio, and he walks into this beautiful resort with his girlfriend, toting behind, and he's kind of upset with her. Like he's not into her. It's his mother's pushing him to be with this girl, and but he's not really that into her. Anyway, gets to the front desk, and the girl behind the checkout counter, he takes a liking to her. Let's put it that way. So she's, checking him out and everything. Well, not checking him out. She's doing her job. She's all about her business. But he starts to kind of flirt with this girl, and this girl's like offended, like, "Hey, your wife is like standing right here." She calls him wife, wife or girlfriend, whatever. And he's like, "She's not my wife or whatever." But it was really kind of messed up. So he starts out as this real jerk, like he appears as a real jerk. Here you are on this date, and you're trying to hook up with the first chick you see, and you have this beautiful girl standing next to you. So yeah, he starts out as a jerk. It gets worse because he gets his room, he goes up to his room with his girlfriend. They're kind of bickering because she brought her cat, and who brings their pet cat to Las Vegas? The cat gets away, and he's like telling her to go get the cat. And she runs off and gets the cat. I think she did find the cat and she brings the cat back, but or she doesn't find the cat. I don't know. I don't know. The cat gets lost in Las Vegas. I don't know. But he goes up to the room, and he decides that he's going to go back down later on that night and try to talk to that checkout counter girl. And his girlfriend wants to go clubbing. He's like, "No, I'm tired." It was like an unplanned trip, so it was very random. So he's like, no, he just doesn't. He just, you know, in his defense, he's being forced into a relationship with this girl. And I know it's like, oh well, how can you force somebody? He's just trying to please his mother, but and the thing is like this girl, she's beautiful. It's just that he's just not into her. It's nothing wrong with her. She's not a mean person. She's not evil or wicked or anything. He's just genuinely not interested in her. So he tries to blow her off or whatever. She gets upset, and I think she leaves to go clubbing, or she acts as if she's leaving or something like that. Anyway, he gets dressed, he goes back downstairs, and he notices that the girl that he had the checkout counter girl, that her name was Megan. Apparently I'm going to be remembering everybody else's name but his. Her so Megan gets a emergency call at the front desk, and he when he comes down, or I don't know, I get he basically observes her rushing out the front door of the hotel lobby to go catch a cab, or catch the bus, the city bus. So he decides to follow her. He follows her and he gets to the bus stop and he tells her, like, is that he knows that she's upset. So he's like, is everything okay? And at first she doesn't really kind of recognize him. She's disoriented and she's upset over the news that she just got. And then she does kind of freaking regress. And I'm like, oh yeah, that jerk that was hitting on me in front of his girlfriend, you know? And he's like, hey, if you need a ride, I can take you wherever you need to go. And rightfully so, she's like, I think it was a cab, not a bus. Rightfully so, she's like, you know what, quit following me, like, you're a jerk or whatever. So she does something unorthodox. She grabs him by the balls and squeezes pretty hard and says some mean stuff to him before getting in the cab and driving off. That does not deter him, and he just jumps in another cab and follows her cab. So I'm gonna hmm, I'm gonna leave that part of the story there. So there are for some people there are some trigger warnings in this book. As usual, I would say 90, heck, all of my books have some element of spirituality in there, spiritual warfare, supernatural. Um, I'm trying to think of a book that doesn't. And off the top of my head, I can't think of one. There's varying degrees. So this one, you come to find out why he is the way he is, what he's really dealing with. And I always look at it like, people sometimes we see someone in the street and they're like, oh, that person's such a jerk or whatever. But we never really know what that person's dealing with. We never really understand, like, we don't, because we're just passing. So you don't really know why that person is coming off as a jerk. They could really just be that way, or maybe they're dealing with something, And that's what that part is when you start getting into his life and why he did such an impulsive thing. And he didn't harm her, it's quite the opposite. But he basically it turns out they kind of rescue each other, you know? But because he was impulsive in chasing this girl, he saw someone he liked and he pursued them. And even though they told him no, he still pursued them. And it's like it's conflicted because that could be a bad thing, and then sometimes it could be a good thing. So who's to say what he should or should not have done, Had he not done it, he would never have discovered what he discovered along the journey. So, it's a short novel. Um the part that was triggering for some people is that I have death and karma. So let me explain. So in this book, there is the angel of death as a character, and there's karma, or a better term would be angel of balance, right? So you know how they say your life flashes before your life flashes before your eyes before you die. So in my books, that's like karma. Karma comes and she shows you your life, before you die, right? Right before death shows up. So that was the thing I have going on, because when I wrote this book, I believe I had just finished writing Codex, which I believe death and karma are in that book too. Anyway, um this was like a in between. This is supposed to be like a palette washer of a book, right? Anyway, so there's just a certain little scene in there, and it's an interesting scene. For some people, it's some things that Death had mentioned that upset some people's. Some people just didn't like the idea of the angel of balance and the angel of death having somewhat of a romantic relationship. It's nothing sexual. It's like a working relationship. They in a way they kind of work together because, she's showing people's lives before they die and he shows up. She always knows when he's about to show up, right? So they have kind of like, a sun and moon relationship. They're always crossing paths constantly. So, and it's kind of funny because Death has this dry sense of humor, and Karma is very playful, and she's very poetic, and she has this just overall wisdom from just studying humanity for so many years. So for some people that part was triggering. It was not for me, of course. I wrote it, but in all of my books, this is something a little twisted, something a little different, a little interesting. And it's just something that, hey, it's life, it's you got to make your books interesting. So you got to step out of the ordinary sometimes. You got to do something a little different. So, okay, let's get to the next book. See you there.